Right, so I'm making this video today for my own uses and for anyone at my uni course or anyone that happens to stumble across this video. Today I'm going to be making a chamfer box with a sphere and a torus. Torus is like a donut shape, and then the chamfer box is just a box, but you can add the rounded edges to it just to make it look a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer. It's essentially lined up to make a chest. I probably won't be uploading that bit, but again, it's for my own reference. So I'll begin with the actual video now. So we want to go on to extended primitives, and then click chamfer box, make it however you want it. It doesn't really matter, as we can change the X, Y, and Z axes, but as I'm showing, just do it however you want to do it. This is what I'm talking about with the rounded edges. This is important for a chest, just to make it look a bit more professional. Make sure that you go into the customize bar. You can't see this because it's weird, but make sure it's on centimeters. Right, I want the length, width, and height to be 100 centimeters, so that's what I'm doing right now. Sorry, make sure the height is minus 100, not 100. Make sure that you do that for this assignment at least. Then I want to rename the item to trunk, just because that's what I've been asked to do. Then we want to move it. Well, so if you look at the top axes, we want to move X, Y, and Z to 0. So if you watch the movement, whenever I press enter, so now you'll see that it's now perfectly lined up with the middle of the screen on the front. Then we want to move it so that it's so that it's touching the floor, not through the floor. So that would be 50. And as you see on the front axis in the top right, perfectly how we want it. Right, now I want to switch back to standard primitives, make a sphere. This sphere is just central on top of the box. Just make it however big you want to make it. We can edit the radius to 40 in a minute. Yeah, obviously mine's not exactly 40, which is just annoying, so we'll put it to 40. Then we want to... We'll make the axes 140 just to make sure that it's balancing on the top, so it's not, sinking through it. Then we want to actually want to double the size of what it should be, so we want it to be 80 in radius. Just because I want to show that I can make it bigger, and plus it's asking me to do this. But that would also mean that you have to change the Z axes just to make sure that it's balancing on the top and not sinking through the box. Next, we're going to make a torus, which is still in standard primitives. This is a little bit more complicated because there's the outer one and then the inner one, as I'm showing there. You want to make sure you do this in the top box. Make sure you want to make it in the top box. We need the first radius, so this will be 30. As you can see, I did that a little bit wrong. Well, the next one needs to be 15. This one will be 30. And then that's the size of my or donut, if you want to call it that. Now what I've got to do is I've got to change it so that it is rotated and leaning against the box. This one takes a little bit of time to do because, for my knowledge, there's not really an easy way to do this. You just kind of got to do it by hand. You can change the axes and that, but I tried to do it to 90 here, but I think my box might be slightly different to what it's supposed to be because it's in line with the top of it, not like not in the middle of it, if that makes sense. But that could be my own fault. I could just be stupid. If you see at the top, we now want to move, and we want to rotate. We don't want to do this, but I'm showing you this just as an example. We want to grab this, I think it's yellow, green, whatever. We want to rotate the donut at an angle, and then we want to move the donut, sorry, so that it looks like it's leaning against it, but it's also appearing so that it's not sinking through the floor. But in fact, it's actually leaning against the box. So now I've done this a little bit wrong. So I judged off the front. However, what I need to do is judge off the top as well. And if you look in the perspective angle, you'll see now, so perspective is the bottom right one, you'll see now how I edit this and how it doesn't actually look like it's leaning against the box yet until I've moved it. So here's moving it to the floor. So now it's touching the floor and it's not going through the floor, it's not above the floor. And here's moving it so that it's in line with the box, and then I am now going to move it from, as you can see, I can actually move it in the top perspective, left and front. I'm going to move this one in the top. However, doesn't matter where you do it as long as you know how you're doing it. So now if you look at the box in the perspective in the right, it is leaning against it. There's a slight gap, but that's not really a big thing. You can change it now like this. Now it's leaning against it. Apart from that, we can. That's the basics done. So here, right, you can't see what I'm doing. However, this is making a copy. So there's copies, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. But there's two options. A copy is an entirely different entity on its own, and you can also make I genuinely can't remember what it's called. However, basically, as I'm about to demonstrate, a copy will not alter size. Oh, an instance. Instance is what it's called. So a copy will not alter size, however the instance will, as you're seeing on the screen now. The instance is good for certain things, however sometimes you only want to change one, so a copy can be used. It just depends on what you're using it for. So here's an example of how badly it can go if you're using an instance and you mess up one thing, you mess up multiple things. But again, it's entirely up to what you're doing. Right, thank you for watching. That's the end of
my
this.
sheets, what's her name? I don't know. Where she come from? I don't know. She your bitch? I don't know. Where my wrist? I don't know.